Good evening. Happy Thursday. I am Julie with Creations by Julie. Let's say hi when you hop on. Some of you are here usually really quickly. Let's make sure I can find it on my phone and get it pulled up. I hope y'all have had a great week this week. We actually, today is the second day in a row.
Say hi when you hop on.
Let me turn it down. So we are on. Hi, Sandy. Glad you're here. Okay. Yeah, today is the second day in a row that we actually got some rain, and it was really nice. Cooled off a little bit, but everybody's flowers and hi, Barbara. Okay, tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. I want to show you a couple of techniques of painting wood. Now, you can use the crackle technique. You can also do on glass, but I've never tried it on glass yet. But I am going to show you what I've done with some wood pieces. And then we're just going to play a little bit. And I told Ed earlier it might be a little boring because there's going to be a little bit of having to watch paint dry. But there's only just so much I can do ahead of time. But again, let me welcome you to my page. Today is Thursday, which means this is our second live this week, your second chance to use the mystery words, which was #mysterybox. My thank you gift for this week is going to be just a box of craft supplies. So when you put #mysterybox, just give me some ideas of what you might like to see in the mystery box. I mean, do you need pipe cleaners? Do you want finger protectors? Just some sort of craft supplies that you would like to see me put in that box. And then I will get the box together and I'll show it to you on Monday right before we draw the name. But you don't have to be watching live to be eligible. If you're watching this on replay, let us know you're watching on replay. Just put #replay. And then you also can put #mysterybox to get your name in our blessing bag for this week. And we will draw that on Monday. Not sure exactly yet what our craft is going to be Monday, but hopefully it would be something fun. I try to do inexpensive, cute items that you can make yourself for your home decor.
Sandra Renshaw says she likes to be surprised.
Oh, good. I'm actually going to move because for you to see the crackling and the chippy paint, you need to be able to kind of get a really close-up picture. So I'm going to move around to the end of the table. Ed's going to move the camera down and try to zoom in a little bit without flipping the camera, hopefully. And then we'll talk about the different, I'll tell you what paints I'm using and all that. So let me just kind of switch myself around here for a second. And we're going to let him get really close here on, put those on there for a second, on these two pieces of wood, and I'll raise them up in a second to show them to you. I'm kind of going to watch on my phone so that I can put it in the right spot for you to see. Okay. All right. Here's two pieces that I did earlier. This one is what you would call the crackle. And there's a delay, but I want to get it up really close to the camera.
That's good.
That's close enough that they can really see the crackles in it?
Yeah, what you're seeing is delayed. I'm actually seeing what's going on right here on the camera.
Okay. So this was actually painted a dark brown, and then I put the white over it. This is what you call crackling. I still think I can get it closer. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do this technique. Then the other one, and we'll have to focus on it for a second, is what you call chippy paint. And it is where you rub off or you take away some of the paint. You see it on your really old wood, barn wood and things like that. And there's a very simple way to do that. This one is just stained, a piece of wood that I stained and did it. And I'm going to show you different techniques on that. So the first thing I want to do is to talk about the chippy. And he probably can go out just a little bit on these because these are picture frames. I really like doing the chippy look on picture frames. Okay, these I picked up at Hobby Lobby. They were like $2.40 on sale, and they were just this wood. You could put your paint over this and do the chippy look, but I wanted you to really be able to see it on camera, so I painted it black first, so that when it comes through, you'll be able to see it better. And I'll tell you, the only thing I use to do this, you can use Vaseline, you can use candle and for the wax, or you can use just the cheap dollar store glue. That's what I'm going to use tonight, and I'm only going to do half of this frame and kind of show you. But everywhere you put this glue, you're going to be able to rub the paint that you put on top off. Now, you always, no matter whether you're doing crackle or whether you're doing the chippy look, you want to use contrasting colors. In other words, you wouldn't want to use this black and then try to put a dark navy blue over top of it. You would want to use white, cream, yellow, something light colored. You can actually reverse that. You could paint the frame white. Now, because it's the wood, you might need to do 2 coats. This was just one quick coat that I did earlier. And then you could put your darker coat on top of that.
Barbara Rosecrans wants to know if that's a glue stick.
It is a glue stick from the Dollar Tree. Just any kind of glue stick. Or a wax candle. I have done it with Vaseline. Vaseline, you either take a Q-tip or use your finger. And what you're going to do is just everywhere that you want to be able to rub the glue off. You don't want to do straights, but you probably for sure edges. Let's do an edge there and do an edge there. You can make swirls however you want to do it. Everywhere you put this glue stick, I'm going to have to pick it up or turn it this way. I'll just do a couple across like that and the corner. Okay? So you can see I've got the glue on there. This is really a cheap way to get that. Now, if you want it really chippy, then you put, a lot of glue. Okay? Then what you're going to do is just take a paintbrush, and I'm going to use, I need a paper plate, Ed. Sorry, I forgot to get a paper plate. I'm just using plain acrylic paints, this black. You could use chalk paint, but these acrylic paints you can buy at Hobby Lobby and Walmart both for under $1. So you want a light color, so I'm just, so that you can see it really well, I'm going to use some white here. Because we're going to have to let this dry before we wipe it off. And like I said, I'm just going to take your paint. You can do it as thick or as light as you want. I realize I probably took it out of the frame there, but just bear with me. Like I said, I'm just going to do half of this frame.
At least I haven't reversed it and they look at me.
You'd have to do a craft if you did that. Now see, I didn't do like any of the inside. And it's just plain acrylic paint. But we're going to have to let this dry. I'm just going to go ahead and use the rest of the white paint. And you know, the chippy look, did I put any down this side? I don't think I did. Oh well, we'll see. What was I going to say? The
White paint.
Yeah, we're just going to set this aside and let it dry for a minute. I do have my heat tool, but I want to show you something else, and this could be a total fail. I don't know.
Rebecca said she'd late to the party again.
It's okay, Phyllis. We're just getting started. All we've done is put glue on a picture frame that I'd painted black, and then we painted white over the top of that. We're talking about the chippy look right now. So they say that you can layer your colors and get a totally different finish. So I thought, well, okay, I'm going to try that. I've never done it before. This, I painted black on the bottom. I used my glue stick, wiped all over it. Then I painted, I either did cream or white, a light coat. I think it was white. I let it dry totally. Then I used the glue, and then I put yellow on the top. So this actually has 3 colors of paint. And then you just take putty knife, I call it. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And we're going to scrape it. This is where you kind of start making a mess. But you're just going to scrape. This is after it's dried. And you have to put a little elbow grease in it because it's pretty thick paint right there. But you'll be able to see a couple of colors come out. And I really did the sides. Now you also...
Said hello to it.
Hi, Donna. We're making a mess. So now I'm really seeing the white more than I am the black. Like I said, there's 3 layers here. And maybe, let's see what happens if I sand it. You should be able to see 3 different colors. That's making marks.
It's a good mess.
Yeah. Probably yellow wasn't my best pick for a color.
It's coming out now, though.
Huh?
You can see the white.
Yeah, you're getting down to the... It was black, white, and then yellow. I also read, I wasn't going to try it, so you don't want much of that yellow on there for sure, unless what you're really going for. But the whole thing is to give it a messy, chippy look, like old wood. I'm thinking I probably let it dry too long because that yellow, or maybe I should have used... chalk paint would have come off easier, but this is the first time I've tried doing 3 colors. Let me get my wet towel here and clean up this mess, and then we'll see if the white... Have any of you ever tried doing it with 3 colors? I've done a lot with 2 colors. This was the first time I had tried 3. And I do think probably Vaseline would have been better than that glue stick. But you can use candle wax. But technically, and see, I had a lot more places than that I had the glue stick. And the paint was supposed to come off. I probably will kind of try doing it while it's still a little wet sometime. See, this is still wet. I'm just wondering how much of it would wipe off.
Dear Marie says I haven't tried it all.
Okay, we're gonna try something. Tonight's experimenting. This paint is not totally dry, so, yeah, I'm tripping over my cord now. Got it hung in my shoe somehow. So I'm wondering how much of it would wipe off. Because this is not totally dry. And then I'll dry that side and we'll see a difference. But see, you can see where I put the glue. And that was just glue stick. All right, let me dry this side, and then I'm going to see if I can scrape it and see. We're just going to play with it a little bit. So.
It says I sand instead of wiping.
Yeah. I'm going to try the scraper, and then we may sand it a little bit too. But you could use any color as long as you... I like the darker color underneath and the lighter color on top. To me, that just looks more like an old window or something. But you could do it the other way around. But you want to make sure you use contrasting colors.
Karen Hunter's here.
Hi, Karen. Yeah, I told Ed he probably would get bored tonight because there would be some watching paint dry. But we're not really making anything. We're just experimenting with these different techniques. I'm not sure how dry that needs to be, but we'll give it a few more minutes. Now see if I take... Oh no, that's still too wet sand, huh?
Donna says poor Ed.
Yeah, now see this, if you sand it, I can see the wood because that white is still wet. Can y'all see that? It's taking off the black also. So I don't want, I mean that would be fine. I'd have to do the whole frame like that, but I still want to let that dry a little bit. So while that's drying, let's move on and talk about something else. Let me put this brush in my water. Okay, let's move to the crackle. Now part of this I did ahead of time because I read somewhere that when you use this crackle medium, which you can buy at Hobby Lobby. I ordered mine off of Amazon, but it's the Folk Art Crackle Medium. But I'm going to show you a cheap way that you can do it also. But this, they say let your base coat, and I just took a piece of wood, painted this side white, this part of it black, so that I could stick it down in the thing to dry. And they said to let your base coat dry for at least an hour. So I did that earlier, and what I'm going to do here is just take a brush and apply this a good bit. The thicker you put it on there, the larger your cracks. And you want to go in one direction. This needs to dry on its own, so that's why we're doing it now. And boy, did I put a lot on there. I'm going to take some of it and put it on the other side because we're going to do both of these. We're going to do white on this side and maybe red on this side so that you can get a look of what happens with the white underneath. This is your store-bought crackle. But they say it works better if you just put it on there and then let it dry on its own. And I don't know how long it might take it to dry, so we're doing that now. And set it in the can, put it aside. But that's what it looks like, crackle medium. It says for an instant aged look. My first thought was maybe that's what I put on my face every day. I get that instant aged look. Okay, but there's a cheaper way you can do it. You can either use Mod Podge or plain old glue. You do not have to buy that crackle medium. So let me show you how you would do it with those two. And I can use the heat gun on this. I don't have to let it dry on its own. Let me get some of this up. Sometimes there's not a whole lot of difference in these two, so I had to mark my wood so I know that I was going to put glue on this side. This is just a piece of wood that I painted this side and this side black, and I played with it on this side. I don't know if you can see, this is what the glue did. It's large cracks. This is what the crackle medium did. They're really small, tiny cracks. I like what the glue does. That is what, oops, that's what this house is, glue. You see the large cracks in it? So it's like, why spend your money unless you want those little bitty cracks? Okay, so we're going to put glue on this side and Mod Podge on this side. And I may run out of brushes. I may have to. Okay, glue. This is just cheap glue from the dollar store. And I think it probably got a little stopped up on me. But I'm going to put a good bit of glue. Okay. There again, they say go in one direction. And just put plenty of glue on there. Okay, now I am going to just kind of wipe the glue off this a little bit because I'm going to put Mod Podge on this side so we can compare them. And these, you don't have to wait for the glue and the Mod Podge to get totally dry. You just want to let it dry for 5 or 10 minutes till it kind of starts getting sticky. Okay. That's a good bit of Mod Podge. And you'll be able to tell. See how this has kind of turned colors a little bit? You want to give it a few minutes and let it dry. And I can put the heat gun on the edge, so I'll do that.
You got some caked on the ends.
Here? Yeah, it won't matter. These are just scrap pieces of wood. All right, let me put my brush in water. And let's just hurry this up just a little bit and dry it. You don't want it totally dry. You just kind of want it sticky. And you know, you might do this 2 or 3 times and get a different look each time. But just keep, and you don't have to use wood to experiment on. You can get, I started to say contact paper, but I meant like cardstock, and just paint on cardstock and play with it and practice it. Okay. You don't want it too much because it'll bubble. All right, now we're going to get our white back. And like I said, everything I've used tonight is just acrylic paint. All right, now you're going to take a brush, and you have to have a real, that may not be enough white, you have to have a real light hand because you don't want the glue and the paint to totally mix together. And I'm not too sure, I shouldn't dry those just a tad more. So you want to go very lightly on the top. I did see people that immediately put it on there, and I'm like, I don't know how you keep from mixing them together when it's that runny. But supposedly, you're supposed to be able to do it. All right, so we're going to, and you don't want to go over it and over it and over it. You want to have enough paint on your brush that you can just swipe very lightly. just real light on top of that. All right, let me do the other one. What did I do with my white? Remember, this side's glue. This side is the Mod Podge. And I would suggest that you pour your paint in a plate because you don't want to mix that paint. All right, I tried to just put it on very lightly. And they say you can use your heat gun, but just be careful that you don't bubble your paint. We'll see. I usually let things dry on its own, but that's high. So let's just see if we can see it starting to crackle as it dries. You know, this is the type of project, and I can see this is already crackling right here. I don't know if y'all can see it. I can see to where you could do this several times and not have the same effect. So I would suggest that you just kind of play with it. Decide what you like. Now, my lines are going to go this way because that's the way I brushed it. I should have brushed this one that way so that you could see a difference. So one, if you brush this way, that's the way your crackle lines are going to go. And to me, these are much larger crackles. Oh, thank you, Phyllis. I appreciate that. We use the money from the stars to help pay for shipping, our freebies. Okay, so seems like it's taking longer. I might have put it on thicker with the Mod Podge. And a lot of times, the other day when I did them, I don't think I dried it. I think I just left them and looked at it the next morning. But they do say with the crackle medium, most places say don't use a heat gun. You want to let it, it's supposed to do it immediately. We'll see in a minute. It may not be dry. We may have to try to dry it with a heat gun. This is the type of thing that you just don't want to get in a big hurry. You just kind of want to let it do what it's going to do on its own. But then when you get this done, you still can take the sander to it. You get the edges. I'm not impressed with this one at all. It didn't do what I wanted it to do. I do see 3 colors, but I don't particularly like that look, and it may be because I put yellow on top. I'm not sure. Now they said with the glue, and you know I put a good bit of glue on there, the glue thick will give you larger cracks. And I don't know if y'all can really see it, but see the glue one is, I can't tell that the Mod Podge is doing much yet. But you can see the one with the glue is really crackling really nicely. And I like using the glue. You just have to be careful because like I said, your paint will bubble. And it looks like that's probably what it tried to do there. So why don't we let that dry a little bit on its own and we'll come back and check it in a few minutes. Let's set it here and let's get back our picture frame and see if it's dry enough now, what it would do if we scrape. This, you get more. I have an old window in my bay window. from a church where my brother goes now. That's actually the little church where Ed went as a child. And it's kind of got this look. It's got the chippy old look. Let's see. I think
Plus the occasional termite hole.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, you definitely, and you could do this, you know, as much as you wanted to get it as chippy as you wanted it. See, you can still see there's some black, there's the wood, and I'm thinking this wood probably had some sort of coating on it, which kept my black from, maybe I didn't leave it on there long enough, but it makes a really cute old-timey picture. And what I do with these frames is I'll take one of those canvas panels and put in here with a saying on it or something. But yeah, that you could make that as chippy as you wanted to. And if you weren't happy with how much of the brown that you see, then just go back over it and do it again. But you can see the totally different effect that you get if you let it totally dry. This was still somewhat wet, so that's very subtle in that, but I really like this. So that's your chippy. Okay. Let's check our crackle medium. I've seen different people say different things. Somebody says that you're not supposed to, it's better not to use a heat gun, but you know what? We don't have all day. So we're going to help this dry a little bit. May not crackle like it's supposed to, but Ed says it's boring to watch paint dry, so. But if you decide to buy some of this, then, you know, let it dry on its own. See, I've got this painted both sides. We're just going to kind of help these two along just a little bit so that we can see what the crackle medium does. Do y'all have any questions? Let's set that there. Let's work on this Mod Podge one. I may have to just send you a picture tomorrow of it. It's taking a long time to dry. Of course, it's been raining today too, so. But you can see how the glue, as it's drying. Really, Mod Podge is just glue anyway.
It's storming there.
We had a good shower yesterday and today, but I'm telling you, we needed it. Everything was dying. But our yard is actually pretty soggy right this moment, but we're happy. And it cooled off. I think it's just, does it say 82? I think it's just 82 out there now, and that's so much better than 102. So how many of you have done the crackling? I want to try putting some napkins over some of it and see how it looks, but see, to me, the Mod Podge is just not doing much of anything. I don't know if I had my paint, but paint's really thin in some places, so it's just going to take it longer to dry than the glue. The glue's drying faster. I really want you to see this crackle medium though, so We're going to try to get at least part of it dry.
That board made it kind of loud with that mic.
Sorry. There really wasn't much of a way I could have done a whole lot of this ahead of time, though. Oops, I'm just knocking everything off the table. We could get Ed to sing for us.
I don't think
Y'all would never tune in again. So what's everybody doing? Hi, Kathy. I see Kathy's watching. Remember your mystery word. Mystery box. Hashtag mystery box. I've been working on watching a lot of videos and figuring out some Christmas projects. I can't wait to start on fall and Christmas. Now, I'm not ready to drag all my fall stuff out of the shed, the she shed, but I am ready to start. All right, that looks wet, but it feels.
Kathy Karen Hunter says trying to draw for
Donna's frying okra.
getting our groceries in the house during the storm.
Oh, yeah, soaking wet. Okay, we're going to use white and we're going to use red on that. And this one, see, you can't see much of anything happening with the Mod Podge. This is the Mod Podge side here, and this is the glue. If I did not have the Crackle medium, I would definitely just use glue. I like the glue better than the Mod Podge, but now by tomorrow morning, this will have streaks in it. But just from the couple of things I've experimented with, the glue I just like better. I like the streaks in it better. But let's see now if we can get this to work. And let's see, is this the brush I used with the glue? It is, isn't it? Yeah, I don't want glue on my thingamajigger. So I'm going to put that in water and get me another brush. We're going to put white on this one and we'll see. You shouldn't have to do anything to this. Now see, I'm not going to come down this far because it is still a little wet, but I'm going to do just this area up here, and it's almost an instant crackle if I've done it correctly. We shall see. And I probably didn't need that much white. Again, when it starts crackling, you do not want to go back over that same area. You can go up and down. All right, let's just do that little bit because it's still wet right there. Okay. I don't know if you can see it. But it's beginning to crackle, and it's going to be small crackles. You want to take this side of it? And like I said, it's small crackles. But it's not the big long lines like you get with the glue, but it's a small crackle. Let me be getting my red ready.
Maybe you can still see the patterns from the brush.
Well, yeah, because it's not dry. That paint's not dry yet. we could help it. I kind of want to do an experiment to see the difference it made if you, they say let it dry on its own, but let's see if we can help this along down here and see if it makes a difference. But it does crackle, but it's little crackles. I'll dry it a little bit and then we'll... My advice for sure would be don't rush it. Just put it on, let it dry on its own, come back the next day and look at it. Because you say, yeah, I can see it crackling. But the crackles are very tiny. Okay, where do I need to hold it, Ed? This area right here, the first part I painted, is crackling pretty good.
You can't really see
it. You can't see it up there? Okay. I mean, I can. Let's turn it over and try this red. I've never done white underneath with red on top. Ooh, that looks pink. That is a different brush, isn't it? Oh, well, it'll be pink crackle. Now, see, I can tell. See there where I rubbed that? They say have enough paint on there to one time because you mess up your crackling. So let's see what happens here. I haven't seen Carrie Marie. I was going to say this is definitely watching paint dry. And one thing too, I didn't shake. I didn't shake the crackle.
Carrie Marie was on earlier.
This says put the base coat on your surface, allow to dry 1 hour between coats. Apply medium, allow 1 hour between coats. So this crackling does a whole, see, it's beginning to crackle here. But it does a whole lot better if we had let our medium dry for an hour. See, I can see little crackles here. And some come in here. But the red, to me, I see some crackling effect up here. It's not going to crackle there because I ran the brush through it and mixed the crackle medium in with the paint. So just experiment and you know, see what you come up with and play with it. And like I said, you don't have to waste wood to do that. You can just use a piece of cardstock and paint on it. But I definitely would suggest trying not to do anything really fast. Definitely wait an hour or so in between every coat, because I know I have seen this crackle just crackle immediately, and it is beginning to, but they're little bitty. That's the one thing. I don't know how to make big crackles. Honestly, I probably, any projects I do, I will use the glue. See, the Mod Podge still hasn't dried enough to crackle. but the glue has the big crackles, and I like that much better than little bitty crackles. But you could take these little bitty crackles and then sand it like we did or with the other. So just play around, but you don't need to go buy expensive crackle medium unless you just want to. I think the glue works great. But it's getting there. It's just not quick. Okay, so I'm not going to keep you any longer. We've played. Had a couple of, I don't like that. I'm going to play around a little bit more probably with the several layers. See, this was another one I played with. And I think this was the Mod Podge. And see, it's not near as many crackles as what you get with the glue. This was glue on brown. This is a dark brown underneath there. So, and I'm thinking probably by tomorrow, there'll be more cracks in this, because see, some of this is still wet. So there'll be more cracks in this one. And there'll be cracks in that one probably, but there'll be little cracks like that. So, but then this was our chippy frame. And I really like the way this is looking. That looks like a really old picture frame. And like I said, if it's got too much brown in it, but you know, this is probably not even real wood. I don't know, but evidently it's got this is what it was. And see, it's got a shiny, it's real slick and shiny. So I think that's probably why my acrylic paint didn't stick any better. But you know, if you want the old rustic look, that's one thing you can do. And I'll tell you something else. I didn't bring a spray bottle in here, but I also read, and it would be messy, but if you wanted like this, for example, you could take, if you want it to really look old and you had a piece like this, you could take it and you'd want to set it up like this, paint black right across the top, and then take a squirt bottle and squirt that with water and let it drip down, and then kind of wipe it off a little bit. That really gives it the old age look of wood. But I didn't want to get into that messy of a thing, so I haven't tried that yet. Okay, yeah, see, I don't know if you see, but there's more crackles coming. But they're very fine and very small. So my suggestion would be stay with the inexpensive glue and then don't worry about buying the medium. So I'm going to go for tonight. Ed's trying to follow me and told him not to do that. But who does he listen to? Nobody.